Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are in the world. My name's Brett McConnell. I'm with Blue Sky eLearn and excited to be a part of .org Communities Solutions Day. And this is our session, making the switch from in-person to virtual and back again. First up, just kind of set the stage here a little bit and a quick introduction on myself. I'm broadcasting live from Arlington, Virginia, right outside of DC. I live here with my partner, Raleigh, and our beautiful 13-year-old Boston Terrier. Today, what we're hoping to cover is really kind of taking a look back at the last year and a half to 2 years, and kind of all that's taking place in the world of virtual and hybrid events. We'll share some observations, some lessons learned, and some best practices that we've seen in serving our partners in this space. And then lastly, we'll hone in on one partner in particular, that being AEE, or the Association of Energy Engineers, and some of the work that we've done together. So first up, how did we get here, right? Certainly back in March 2020, and even before that, the world was very much kind of flipped on its head. And the different waves that we as a vendor in this space experienced in working with our clients, primarily being member-based associations. And we kind of recognize four waves that really occurred throughout the last 18 months or so. The first being, of course, March 2020, and kind of the different sets of challenges that were presented with each phase. That first wave very much was we have to act fast. It was very much about speed and simply getting a virtual solution in place as fast as possible. And then we kind of experienced a second wave, that being about summer of 2020. And there, a lot of folks realizing, hey, like our annual events, our regional meetings, they're not going to occur this fall or winter. So what's the game plan now? Then kind of coming into the beginning of 2021, people still realizing that we might be going back in person. So, what does this then look like if we were to meet in person, having a virtual component, and ultimately a hybrid solution? And people kind of starting to look at this more long-term than simply just executing on one event. And then the last wave kind of here over the course of summer 2021, and a little as we continue to have different variants that exist, the different waves that have occurred with being shut down versus kind of going out and about, and folks very much still needing to keep both virtual and or hybrid in mind in 2021 and beyond. What we recognized with these groups was that there were a couple different levels of preparedness that we saw. Some folks were a clean slate, had very little experience in doing virtual previously, and in many ways that being a lot of opportunity there to really kind of define what virtual looks like and not being bound by how you'd kind of done it previously. Where we had also kind of met with groups that maybe dabbled a little bit or were a little more intermediate and had some experience in maybe using Zoom or Adobe Connect or even Microsoft Teams, but needing more in facilitating, say, an annual conference where we're talking about thousands of users who are paying for entry, many different sessions, oftentimes continuing education credits and tracking being involved. And then those that were advanced, they had a lot of experience in having hybrid at their annual conferences and were really able to pivot fairly easily in certain situations in the new virtual world, and really the opportunity that they witnessed as a result. And that really very much being about kind of fine tuning rather than a clean slate, if you will. And so in working with these different types of audiences, that being beginner, intermediate, or advanced, what we noticed is, ultimately what's needed. And I'm looking at this from the perspective of an annual conference, a large event with 1,000 users that has very robust needs. And what we notice is with this stuff, especially, it's not necessarily about being great at one thing as much as it is about being good at many hundreds of things, and really having the resources and bandwidth in place to check all of those boxes. So what we first of all notice is really having a platform to support your virtual or hybrid events. This really, that what type of platform do you need? Because maybe you don't have those robust needs. So maybe you just need simple registration and e-commerce perspective. But are you needing a platform that needs to track your members and attendees engagement per session to reward them with CE credits and certificates? Are you needing a poster hall? Are you needing an expo hall? What are the components of the event that are important to you, and the areas of functionality that we're going to need to deliver upon that? Are you needing any integrations? Do we want to integrate this with your existing database, CRM, or association management system? And then, these systems then having compatibility and data transfer between them to really make this less work for you as your staff, and ultimately a more intuitive experience for your attendees as well. But are we but also integrations that exist outside of just with the AMS, and what can occur with other platforms such as online communities or email marketing, and much more. And then beyond the platform, what else do we need? Are you in a position where you can you have a platform in place, it meets your needs, and then you're going to self-manage, or do you need a little more support? And one area that we recognize with working with folks is a lot of them needed support with the production itself. That is the streaming of the content that is produced per each session. And ultimately what that looks like. Is that simple voice over PowerPoint, or are we looking to have something more polished and produced, more representative of our brand? And what can occur in that event, and plugging in images and backgrounds, and really being able to produce a very polished look and feel. And ultimately, not just the live streams, but all of those 100 boxes that you need to check as it pertains to project management, and the strategy and the coordination that occurs before the event, the alignment between our staff, your presenters, your end users, your expos, and beyond. Then that being the same team that on the day of that event, being there not to just live stream the sessions, but also to provide end user support, presenter support. And is that simple? Is that through chat? Is that through a third party? Is that by phone, by email? There's a lot of options that can occur. And then, beyond the platform, beyond the production of the content itself, what are those more higher level strategic initiatives that we want to consider? What are the ultimate goals of the event? Is it more focused on networking and facilitating more peer-to-peer engagement, or are we simply looking to provide our CE or CME opportunities to our users annually? Are we looking to really provide engagement between your vendors and your attendees to kind of present opportunities between those different audiences? So long story short, it's not one thing. And what we saw is if you, out of those hundreds of things, the areas that were most important, that were really one, having that platform to support the event, and is that just one event throughout the year, or is that several? Having the resources and skills necessary to facilitate great live streaming content, and then also kind of those more higher level strategic initiatives. Some considerations, of course, is time. Now, this is changed tremendously. When it first occurred, we experienced many different surges through those waves within the last year and a half. And depending on the timeline we had to registration, or to go live, or to the event itself, let's ask ourselves what is actually attainable with that timeline. Are we working with 2 to 3 weeks here to deliver event, or do we have 2 to 3 months where we can kind of take a little more time and really do our due diligence in launching this effectively? Registration, where is that going to occur? Now, ideally, this can happen natively with your platform, that being both e-commerce and registration, but oftentimes that's not always the case. Maybe the timeline drove where registration will occur. Folks are always eager to get a registration open as soon as possible. Maybe you were taking registration in a system previously, and maybe having to pivot from in-person to virtual, and then what that looks like, and needing flexibility between those options. Is this going to be 100% virtual? Or are we going to have a hybrid component as well, and kind of the different sets of challenges and the additional planning that needs to occur if it is in fact hybrid? More on that here in a little bit. And then also, what's ultimately most important to you? Is it the quality of the production and that being very representative of your brand, Is it recognizing your attendees' research and publications in a poster hall? Is it facilitating connections between your vendors and your attendees in an expo hall? Or perhaps it's networking and what that looks like in a virtual space. So now that we've kind of taken a look back and shared some observations that we've seen as a vendor in the virtual and hybrid space, and we kind of shared, kind of what we've learned and the different types of organizations we've worked with, and then the different sets of challenges that can occur, and kind of where you fall on that scale. Let's kind of hone in on AEE here. Now, this is an association with over 18,000 members in more than 100 countries. They had a staff of about 3 that was primarily focused on their virtual and hybrid needs. And they, rather than having just one large annual event with AEE World, had 3 to 4 regional events throughout the year as well, including their spring and summer events too. And we actually, when in that first wave that occurred, we're not working together. They had had a summer event that went virtual, and they knew after that event, had some lessons learned, and knew that they were kind of looking for more with respect to delivering to their members in a virtual environment. So some requirements that we discovered were, first and foremost, really flexibility, and how that occurs in many ways. Having a platform that has flexibility with your registration options, your e-commerce options, where those occur, your user configuration, the design of the site, and ultimately, how we can create a virtual experience to really speak to those areas that are most important to you. For them, it was not just about one event; it was about having an evergreen platform that that was really their dedicated virtual and hybrid space, where you could attend those events synchronously and live. But maybe if you missed out on the event, you could come back to that same platform at any point and still review the content and in an on-demand fashion, and also how that's additional revenue opportunities for the organization itself. And then for them, it was really about additional support with the planning, being kind of a smaller staff for these large events, really needing more white glove treatment and professional services around their platform to help with that pre-event planning, strategy, coordination, and much more, and as well being that same team and on the day of the event to execute it together. What mattered most to them was really the brand and brand continuity, and that being reflected throughout the user experience. When they're navigating through your digital web presence, through your site, and they sign up and they pay and they register for their sessions, and that consistent look from beginning to end was very important to you. And I've got some to them. It was I've got some examples that I'll show you here soon of what that ultimately meant for them in the live streams and the end result. It was about it kind of on the same note is a seamless user experience as you kind of navigate throughout the virtual experience. And a lot of times how that's not in just one platform, that can be through your website or CMS. It could be through your AMS and database, and of course into the virtual platform itself and beyond. It was about recognizing those sponsors and creating revenue opportunities for them to offset kind of what had occurred and not going in person, and giving them booths and opportunities to promote their products and services to the end users as well, and then as well as networking opportunities, right? And how can we replace that in-person component that we no longer have, and and how they kind of accomplish that with us, really just through creativity and providing dedicated time at the end of the day, in the morning, whether it's to have coffee with one another, a happy hour, or some more kind of creative ideas we've seen with bingo, halls, hot topic discussions, even incorporating games such as Jeopardy and trivia into the mix as well. You're really only kind of limited by your creativity when it comes to networking, and ultimately what that can look like in virtual and or hybrid. So This is a few snapshots from their AEE World event that we first worked together on back in the winter of 2020. And to them, as you can see here, it wasn't simple voice over PowerPoint. You know, we were piping in speakers from all over the world, and they were very keen on the look and feel of their brand. And you notice how you know, you can plug in images and you can skin the background to give it kind of a more global or worldly look is what they were looking to achieve. But then the changes that we made from event to event to kind of mirror different themes, whether it was their world event or their spring event or summer event, and kind of how you can get creative with that. And you know, alongside these sessions, providing opportunity for users to engage with the presenter, which has become commonplace for us through chat, Q&A, polling, and much more. And just to kind of share a couple of statistics from that first event we did together, AEE World, back in the winter of 2020, you can see they had a peak attendance of over 500. They had almost 500,000 minutes viewed of educational content. The nearly 1,500 questions asked, many presentations streamed, and over 1,200 users on the platform over the course of 3 days. They also had 4 concurrent tracks taking place over the course of those days. And all in all, these were a lot of coordination occurred to be able to stream 47 different presentations, and you know, ultimately making this an intuitive experience for their end users as a result. AEE World was such a success that we continued to partner to one another with one another for their spring event. And of course, we just executed their hybrid event just a few weeks here ago. More on that here soon. But I think I wanted to share kind of the global perspective of AEE World as well, because I think it very much speaks to the power of virtual, and that this many users from all across the world were able to share their industry knowledge and expertise in a virtual event while this pandemic is occurring. So all in all, the results we were very happy with, and the feedback we received from members very much demanded for more virtual opportunities going forward. So kind of flash forward to now, and here recently we had partnered on AEE World 2021, and for this conference we were meeting in person in New Orleans. We actually sent folks on site, and with hybrid, kind of the different door that you open with respect to planning. I wish I could say it's it gets easier with hybrid, but you know, it does open an additional level of planning that needs to occur. And one way we describe this is there's kind of 3 tiers. The first being the on-site AVs and that kind of critical on-site equipment that's typically going to be at an event with projectors, microphones, etc. Then tier 3 being that online environment that users are going to attend virtually. And you know, the level of coordination that needs to occur in the middle, that being level 2, and ensuring that the on-site AV has the appropriate equipment to be able to connect that on-site feed to the online space. So some considerations with hybrid is, you know, who's going to get access to what. You know, are people that are in the hotel going to have access to the online environment? It's the location of the presenters and how they can really, you know, some are going to be on site, some are going to be online, and really having the resources in place to be able to pipe everyone in and weave it together into a cohesive look and feel. How you're going to price that event for in-person versus virtual, and you know, what that tends to look like. You know, because sometimes you're not able to keep that price point the same. So, you know, being creative on your price points, and ultimately focus on building engagement with the event and delivering an incredible experience. So just to kind of end with some quick trends here, some things that stood out to me and really kind of can drive the decision making is one, of course, the industry and geography and where the event's located, and the industry that the association serves, and how that can drive whether they're going to be more friendly towards in-person or online. Their users are demanding more. I wish I could say they're demanding less. So the importance of continuing to refine your events and provide an incredible experience. Noticing, you know, is this about self-managing and internally and you know, producing your own events, or, you know, what are those areas that you need to partner with service provider, and ultimately how they need to work together to deliver the event. And then ultimately just a continued emphasis on a long-term approach. And virtual and hybrid very much being commonplace. And in many ways, this has really opened the door for additional opportunities for groups moving forward. But my name is Brett McConnell. My time's up today. Would love to talk to you about your virtual or hybrid initiatives and to learn more. With Blue Sky eLearn, we specialize in working with member-based associations and providing our Path LMS, instructional design, and event services. So would love to learn more about your group, and hope to talk to you soon and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.